On the outskirts of a quiet rural town, tucked away behind a crumbling wooden fence, was a small, dilapidated shed. Inside that shed lived Max, a German shepherd who had never known freedom. For 7 long years, Max's world was confined to that tiny space. With a rusted chain fastened to his collar, he couldn't take more than a few steps in any direction. He had no soft bed, no toys, and no one to comfort him. The only sounds he heard were the faint echoes of life beyond the shed, birds singing, children laughing, and the occasional barking of free dogs in the distance. Max's owner, an old man who had long since stopped caring for him properly, would toss scraps of food into the shed once a day. Water was scarce, and on hot summer days Max would pant endlessly, unable to escape the sweltering heat. His once proud coat was now matted and filthy, and his once bright eyes were dull, filled with a mix of sadness and resignation. Max had never run through a field or felt the cool grass under his paws. He had never known kindness. But all of that was about to change. One morning, the sound of a truck pulling up outside the property startled Max. He lifted his head weakly, his ears twitching at the unfamiliar noise. Voices followed, firm, compassionate voices. They belonged to members of a local animal rescue team who had been tipped off by a concerned neighbor about Max's plight. The team leader, a woman named Sarah, was determined to save him. When Sarah entered the shed, her heart broke. The stench was overwhelming, and Max was curled up in a corner, his body trembling. His chain clinked as he shifted slightly, unsure of what was happening. "Hey there, buddy. We're here to help you. You don't have to be scared anymore." Max's eyes flickered with a glimmer of hope as Sarah gently reached out her hand. He hesitated, but slowly inched closer, his nose twitching as he sniffed her fingers. For the first time in his life, he felt a human touch that wasn't rough or indifferent. It was warm, gentle, and kind. Sarah and her team carefully unhooked the chain from Max's collar and replaced it with a soft leash. For the first time in 7 years, he took steps toward the outside world. As Max emerged from the shed, the sunlight hit his face and he froze. It was almost as if he couldn't believe what he was seeing. He blinked, his eyes adjusting to the brightness, and hesitantly stepped onto the grass. The sensation was strange but wonderful. He sniffed the air, filled with scents he had never experienced before. For a moment he stood there motionless, as if trying to comprehend the enormity of what was happening. Sarah gently urged him forward, and Max began to walk, his legs wobbly from years of confinement. When they reached the rescue truck, Sarah lifted him inside and placed a soft blanket under him. Max looked up at her with eyes that seemed to say, "Thank you." It was a long ride to the animal rescue center, but for Max it felt like the beginning of a new life. At the center, Max was bathed, groomed, and given a thorough medical checkup. The vet noted that despite his years of neglect, Max was remarkably strong. He had endured so much, yet he still had a spark of resilience. Over the next few weeks, the rescue team worked tirelessly to rehabilitate him. They taught him how to play, gave him nutritious meals, and most importantly, showered him with love and attention. One day, Sarah brought Max to a large grassy field near the rescue center. She unhooked his leash and took a step back. At first, Max didn't move, unsure of what to do, but then, as if realizing he was truly free, he bolted across the field. He ran and ran, his tail wagging furiously. He rolled in the grass, barked joyfully, and chased after a ball Sarah tossed for him. It was as if all the years of pain and sadness melted away in that moment. For the first time in his life, Max was truly happy. But Max's story didn't end there. A kind-hearted family soon came to the rescue center, looking to adopt a dog. When they met Max, it was love at first sight. The family had 2 young children who instantly bonded with him, giggling as he licked their faces and wagged his tail. Sarah watched with tears in her eyes as Max left the center with his new family, his head held high and his eyes shining with joy. Max's journey from a neglected, broken dog to a beloved family member was nothing short of miraculous. He had been trapped his entire life, but thanks to compassion and perseverance, he finally got the happy ending he deserved. Max's story is a powerful reminder of the resilience of animals and the life-changing impact of kindness.